This is the Final Whistle podcast from the Wrexham AFC media team.
The final score, Wrexham 0, Newport County 0, but a really good performance by Wrexham against a side from a division higher. Game in which Wrexham showed real spirit after the shocking events of this morning, with Sam Ricketts told that he shouldn't attend the game. The intensity into speculation that he's on his way to Valencia is Valencia is on my screen. Sam Ricketts is not going to Valencia. I am confident of that, and you can have that as an exclusive. If I'm proven wrong, I'll apologise. Sam Ricketts, intense speculation he's going to go to Shrewsbury. The Valencia talk has died down over the last couple of days, but the Shrewsbury talk is still there, still out there. So Wrexham had to respond from that shock, but came out and put an excellent account of themselves. Very, very impressive from Wrexham, and unlucky not to get the victory. They will have a replay a week on Tuesday at Rodney Parade. Wrexham sprung a tactical surprise. We've got to assume that Ricketts was behind it. They started with a diamond in midfield, and it worked superbly in the first half, in which Wrexham dominated possession and made better chances. The diamond worked really well because Newport play three at the back, so Wrexham had two strikers to occupy them, and then the diamond, the front part of it, Rutherford's playing behind the strikers, and then behind him Summerfield and Akil Wright, whose energy was very useful in the middle of the pitch, but then occupying the three Newport midfielders. That meant that Crofts, the deepest of the midfield three, was forced deep and really couldn't link up very well with the two men in front of him and get the passing rhythm going. And so Newport, with Wrexham going man-to-man on them in the middle of the pitch, found it really difficult to work the ball forwards. The two dangerous strikers didn't have that much support, in all honesty, and their wing-backs didn't get high up enough down the flanks to actually cause problems and give width. Wrexham's full-backs were more progressive in that respect, and as a result, tactically Newport were outmanoeuvred in the first half. Wrexham still didn't maybe make the chances that their possession perhaps might have warranted, but certainly tactically they got things right. Despite that, it was actually Newport, as sort of a typical pattern, actually, to be honest, of Wrexham's games this season. Start strongly, but don't create, and then the other side actually carve out the first opportunity. And it was Newport who came up with the first chance after 10 minutes. That dangerous front two combining well. Ammons on the right hand side doing really well to rip in across 6 yards out, and Matt doing well to just get in ahead of Lawler, but stretching, he couldn't really make a decent contact with it and mishit the ball, spooning it up in the air rather, and it didn't trouble Leighton. As the half wore on, though, Wrexham did start to create some opportunities. Grant and Bevan's energy up front was really good. You could perhaps criticise Wrexham that they're knocking a lot of long balls for them to fight for, and neither of them really going to win many headers against big centre-backs, in all honesty. But having said that, they battled and they caused problems for the centre-backs, and certainly a lot of the headed clearances weren't going very far because the two forwards were strong, robust and aggressive and competitive, and there were lots of second balls in midfield for Wrexham to fight for. One header Grant did sort of win. He created a loose ball, picked out Rutherford on the right-hand side. Rutherford bursting forwards, cut the ball cleverly back to Grant. It was a decent opportunity, and just what Grant wants on the right corner of the box, cutting it onto his strong left foot, but he didn't make the best of contacts on it, and he put it over the bar. Wrexham continuing to push on. Good work on the left-hand side. Carrington and Rutherford combining nicely and releasing Akil Wright, who burst around the back of the defence and into the box, ran along the goal line towards the 6-yard box, tried to pull the ball back for someone to have a tap in, just didn't quite find a teammate, though, falling between the two strikers, and it was half cleared. Walker receiving it 25 yards out, lashed in a shot, but put it over the bar. Decent contact, that. Better contact than the shot which he had a couple of minutes earlier, which he struck in a comical manner from about 35 yards out. Walker does fancy himself with a long-range shot, and that deflected effort that he had at Maidstone is only going to encourage him to try that sort of thing. He picked the ball up and he hit the ball a crazy distance out. He was about a good 35 yards out, possibly even more, and he made the most bizarre, awful, spooning, hideous contact on it and launched it so high into the cop it nearly took Tim Peake's head off. It was an absolute comedy effort. I may have to stick that in the highlights after all. At the other end, Newport did squeeze out one more opportunity in the half. Butler, the left wing back, usually a danger, but on this occasion pretty much suppressed and in deep areas, carried the forwards to the left corner of the box and drove in a vicious cross shot which went across the face, but nobody was really close to getting a final touch, and it went away to safety. And it was Wrexham closing the half well. Beg your pardon. A nice ball by Grant, picking out Summerfield. He poked the ball wide to Rutherford, and Rutherford did nicely, cutting inside into the box from the right flank, and then driving in a shot which took a deflection and span over the bar. A couple of minutes later, Wrexham pushing on again Rutherford involved. A really good run around the back of the defence, driving along down the goal line. He fed the ball into the 6-yard box. Bevan back to ball, pushed it back, and Rutherford from close range lashed in a shot. Crowded 6-yard box. It was blocked. It span clear though and fell to Grant. And well, from then on, it was the moment of the match. Grant meeting it 15 yards out. Like I said, he's got a great left foot, and he absolutely nailed it. Drilled a superb shot with real power. Day going down, somehow managed to stick a hand up and push it away. Brilliant, strong wrist. A remarkable save, quite frankly, from Day. And it was that which ensured that Newport County were able to go in level at half-time, and maybe, you'd have to say, slightly fortuitously. Second half, you wondered whether Newport would have adjusted. Well, to be honest, Wrexham, the first 10 minutes, started out even better, really forcing Newport back. Very positive and aggressive approach. Free kick into the box led to 30 seconds of high drama. Summerfield bursting onto it, went down in the box. A team went up, seemed to be quite keen on the idea that it was a penalty. The loose ball span out to the edge of the area, and I don't know if Akil Wright was distracted by Summerfield going down and the loudness of the penalty appeal, but he had a decent chance standing in the Day with no one charging him down. And he mishit it hideously, just softly into the ground in front of it. It dribbled apologetically forwards and was cleared, but the danger wasn't over. Wrexham knocked it back in, and suddenly Bevan found himself one-on-one with the keeper. Day came rushing off his line. The ball was bouncing in front of Bevan, so he did the right thing, lobbed it over Day, but Demetriou did brilliantly to sprint back towards his own goal and at full stretch hook it away off the line and saved the situation. Newport came back at Wrexham and had a good little spell of about 10 minutes in which they managed to force Wrexham back. Easily Newport's best spell of the match, and in amongst it was their best opportunity. Butler getting forwards on the left, swinging a good cross in. And it dropped to Backinson, who managed to get in front of his man 6 yards out and really should have done better, planted a weak header well over the bar. Newport continued to have this little spell where the midfield was on top and had another chance at the end of it when Carrington played an uncharacteristically sloppy ball out on the edge of his area. It was fed to Sheehan, who hit a 20-yard first-time snapshot but couldn't keep it down, went fizzing over the bar. And Wrexham managed to correct themselves and have a couple of moments to themselves. Summerfield again dinking a free kick in. Grant a long way off the ball, went down and was adamant his shirt had been pulled. One to have a look at on the replays. And then a couple of minutes later, another moment of danger from a set piece. Summerfield swinging in a corner, the ball carrying to the far post where Walker drove in a shot across the face of goal. It was blocked by Day but dribbled on into the goal mouth and was hacked away from under the crossbar. In the last 10 minutes, Newport, who by then had taken off both their dangerous strikers, which is a compliment to how well Wrexham had defended, managed to make a couple more opportunities. A corner, half cleared, Butler driving it back down the line. It looked like he just overhit it and it was going to bounce behind for a goal kick, but Sheehan did well to chase the lost cause and whip in across, and Semenyo 6 yards out. A similar opportunity to the one Parkinson had, but again couldn't keep it down. Slightly more difficult opportunity as he was stretching a bit, but he planted it over the bar. And then with 6 minutes left, a final chance for Newport. Semenya, the substitute, cutting inside again, getting past Jennings, who'd come on as a sub on the left-hand side, and driving in the shot, but Leighton got down comfortably to parry the ball away. There were 6 added minutes, and they were mostly Wrexham's. In the closing stages, Newport went very narrow and quite deep in midfield, and looked like they were just looking to absorb things and not let anything bad happen late on. And Wrexham forced a series of corners and free kicks in dangerous areas, and they were decently delivered in by Summerfield, but Newport are a big, solid team. They defended them well, and Wrexham weren't quite able to carve out one final opportunity. But it was a good, spirited performance by Wrexham. They got it tactically right. The Diamond nullified Newport, forced them backwards. I guess that's a surprise we can't spring again in a week on Tuesday, but it certainly was a good, spirited performance, especially in the circumstances, and Wrexham having the better of possession and the better of the chances will have been frustrated that they weren't able to pull off. Well, James objected to the idea of it being described as a giant killing, so maybe, I don't know, killing a big lad. for a bit more analysis, have a listen now to what James Harrison, Richard Griffiths and myself thought of the game after the final whistle.
This is the Final Whistle podcast from the Wrexham AFC media team.
Well, listen to the crowd. Just listen to the reception that Wrexham are getting. They had the shocks of this morning and the situation around the manager, but the players were not distracted, and they've come out here against a higher division team, and they've been a better team. They dominated possession. Apart from a spell in the second half, they lost control of it a bit, and they came back at the end to finish strongly with a succession of corners in those 6 added minutes. And really, Richard, the only thing that was lacking was a goal. That was a really good performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the best 0-0 games and one of the most exciting 0-0 games I've seen Wrexham involved in many years. And as you say, the only thing missing was a goal, and they did everything but score this evening. And it was, that was far from boring. It was far from scary. Wrexham were by far the better team.
Yeah, it was. I just want to get James having some sort of fit between us. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but yeah, I mean, the shift to the diamond firstly worked really well and nullified Newport in the first half, and in the second half we came out more aggressively in the first 15 minutes, so really drove them back and made some half chances. But I guess that's my criticism again. We have made a couple of decent chances, but no more than that. Just like last Saturday, the foundations are there. Didn't really force to keep into enough saves. That great first save, half save, notwithstanding.
I don't disagree with anything you say, Mark, but you've got to remember that we're not playing non-league opposition tonight, and
yeah, but you got to remember we want to win.
Absolutely,
let's not be nice.
But we've
losers.
come out. No, we've come out and been the better team for the best part of 70, 75 minutes out of 95. And okay, didn't quite have that clinical finish, but their goalie kept them in it on more than one occasion.
They only made one outstanding save.
That one outstanding save.
I can't remember any other saves he made.
He was diving one way and stuck his hand out the other. He was actually going down one way.
Rich, that's my point. That's one save. We've had one good on-target effort in the game that we've had a
dominated. Couple of chances down the other end in the second half where we could have scored. Should have scored, maybe.
One save is that's my point. That's my point. And I'm not knocking us. And I think in the circumstances we could have folded. Definitely could have done.
Yeah.
We stepped up and we performed superbly. They clearly worked all week on playing it that way, and they worked. The game plan worked superbly.
Absolutely, they definitely were well drilled tonight, and they stuck to that game plan.
And defensively, we looked sound. A lot worried me that 2 6-yard box headed chances we could have been punished for, but. Okay, we weren't. I'm not going to complain if they can't hit the target from close in either. But it was, James, like I say, tactically we got it right. Tactically, we forced them backwards with a diamond pushing their midfield 3 back, and they failed to get the players out wide and to push us back down the flanks in the second half, as I feared they might try to.
Tactically, passionately, we were the best side there today for 90 minutes, no doubt. Again, though, I agree with you. Toothless up front to a certain extent. I like the movement of Bevan and Grant. That encourages me. I think a front two might create a few more chances, but we did only create the one save. I think there was one that's possibly cleared off the line, but it's not enough. But it was nice to see us get more action in the 18-yard box. That's something we haven't seen. So there's an improvement in that sense. But yeah, until we're creating gilt-edged chances week in, week out, and numerous, 5 or 6 times when you think one-on-one or there's a shot that the keeper's had to save, we don't work a keeper. It's something we haven't done all season. We don't work the keepers enough, and it's a fair criticism. It's not something that we can hide from, unfortunately. But did we play superb football? Yeah, we played some really good football.
And I needed to take a step back from what I said as well. That Bevan had a one-on-one as well. Not a save by the keeper, but great clearance off the line, to be fair. And like you said, that one was off the line when it was a tight angle. Walker puts it in. The keeper's got something on it. I'm not sure it's going in or not, but it has to be cleared under the bar. Could have fallen to anybody. I think we should be very pleased with that. And I felt, defensively, the back four was solid. Pearson and Lawler dealt with things, and I kept worrying and talking about Orients having that quality front two that in the end made it pay. But they had a quality front two, a better front two than Orients, I would say, and they both had to go off because we nullified them completely, didn't we, Richard?
Yeah, pleased proud, and a little bit aggrieved that we didn't win. I think that's how they'll feel tonight. I think they'll be back in the changing rooms afterwards, and I think the guys will be talking about how they dominated that match. The defence was superb, and that diamond, as you say, they've played that midweek. They've really drilled that into them, and it worked. It shut down Newport for the best part of the first half. They hardly had a look in it. Second half they came into it a little bit more, and towards the end it was all Wrexham. It was Wrexham who were pushing for the win there.
I thought we were going to win it.
That free kick.
I was watching. I thought we were going to just nick a goal here. I did quite fancy us getting something out of that.
That little free kick at the end, and I thought, James said, "Are we going to have this little bit of FA Cup magic?" And
that was the point where I knew it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
The moment he said that, I thought, no! But I don't believe in superstition, but I couldn't touch the black cat often enough to take it off that one.
If I take my commentator's hat off and I'd have sat home tonight as a Wrexham fan or come to the match and watched it, but I'm thinking about the people who are watching this around the country who are not Wrexham fans, I'd be proud of what we did tonight on TV, because so often I watch on TV and I don't think we acquit ourselves particularly well, and they don't see the creative flair that Wrexham quite often have. Tonight we did, and yes, there were some chances like Walker's first half spoon almost over the top of the Kop that looked a little bit non-league finish, but I still maintain that Wrexham had better chances and more chances than Newport tonight, and they are the ones who'll go home feeling they should have won, and Newport are the ones who are glad to be taking it back down there next week.
I think they will be glad of that, James, and I think that I thought that the trouble is that they are strong at home, and then they will come at us. They create an aggressive atmosphere, and then we'll have to battle anew for that game, won't we?
Yeah, we will, and it's another extra Tuesday night game, and it just adds into it, doesn't it? I think the important thing that comes out today, that is in, again, unfamiliar circumstances. We don't know what's going on. Sam Ricketts is still the manager, but those players, as the fans, must have been confused by the news today. And the most important thing is they've come out and put a great performance in. The town of Wrexham, the area of Wrexham, can be proud of. They can go away and say that there's fight in that jersey, and whatever happens, the club is there, the players are there, players, managers, whoever. What happens will happen. People will come and go, and the fans will be there. That's the club will be there, the fans will be there, and I think they can go away with a happy smile from the ground today. Yes, it would be nice if we got the win, and we've got to go down to Newport County, but if you can take pride in that performance, and we can add that clinical finisher or striker that can create chances in January, which is coming up soon. I don't know if there's any extra money in the FA Cup for replays if we get another TV appearance, but
TV definitely will.
Yeah, we've certainly earned some money tonight in the performance. So, is there extra cash to come in? We're not doing ourselves any harm, are we, by putting ourselves up in that shop window and saying we are a team that can play football? Will it happen this year? Will it happen next year? Will it happen the year after? I don't know, but Wrexham are certainly making more of that performance, warming the hearts that something eventually good can happen.
Yeah, the money thing, right? I think I'm right in saying that the prize money is irrelevant. I think it's just for going through to the next round. Obviously, TV money would be very nice if it was picked up. It depends on how the other cup ties are gone, and which games have gone to replays, I suppose, doesn't it? But you certainly, given them a game here to contemplate, haven't they? A decent performance and the possibility of an upset. And then, of course, there's also the issue, but I'm just checking now, and reality is just bit home, that, of course, in cup ties, the away team gets a bigger percentage of the crowd. But Newport's last home game was a Tuesday night, 2,700. So, okay, there might be a few more tempted out by the spiciness of a Welsh derby, but you wouldn't really have thought we were going to get much that way. So, no, probably the money is to be had if we actually win it. Anyway, I've stalled long enough here, Richard. Man of the match time. Who's told you when you place the sword on? Have you not even thought about it?
No.
Oh,
I'm rusty on this.
You're not listening before the broadcast when I didn't tell you you're going to have to pick a man of the match.
No. Oh, can I just pick team of the match? No.
No. Newport County, would that be?
Definitely not.
Well, let's pick contenders by committee, shall we?
Okay.
Summerfield was tidy. Rutherford, James is calling excellent energy from Rutherford. Bevan was a handful. Roberts, I thought, was
really solid and
strong.
Yeah, very solid and strong.
Yeah, Lawler and Pearson. Yeah. James is chipping in, but only got 2 mics between us, sadly. So,
yeah, Pearson and. Who am I going to go for?
We're going to sort this at paper, scissors, stone, aren't we?
I personally.
So James is starring things. He's gone to. He's saying Summerfield and Rutherford are his tips. Let's play paper, scissors, Summerfield, and work out.
Is there a clue in that?
Well, the stone gesture is Summerfield's bald head.
Okay.
The paper is the massive flat surface that Rutherford has covered in this game, and the scissors is the incisive running of Bevan.
The imagination.
Okay. So are we ready for paper, scissors, stone? Ready? 1, 2, 3. I didn't know who I was going to vote for then. Yeah, that's true. Oh, there's 2 Summerfields against 1 Rutherford. Summerfield has it. The first ever man of the match in the history of football to be chosen by the ancient game of Summerfield, Rutherford, Bevan. Excellent. And if you want to see that on YouTube, you can't. We didn't film it. Why did you pick Summerfield? I was going to ask out James and who voted for Rutherford, just to make life difficult and confusing.
Well, it was.
My follow-up question is, why did I pick Summerfield? You're going to have to answer it.
It was one of those. Which gesture is going to come out on the roll of the dice?
Oh dear! Oh, I see. That, is it?
No. In fairness, I think genuinely it was between those two.
Yeah.
For man of the match.
His use of the ball was good. He carried the ball forwards well, didn't he?
Yeah.
And fed some good balls into the strikers. And as we alluded to at half-time, his combination play with Grant was promising.
Yeah, and I think that was probably the tipping point for me. Was the chemistry that did transpire through the game.
And he's just an all-round good egg. We should leave, shouldn't we? Really? Get on with the rest of our lives until Saturday at least. That was a good performance. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair play.
That was a good way to spend a Saturday
evening. Yes, absolutely. Saturday night out in Wrexham. You just can't beat it.
No.
Right. So we'll wrap up then with a final score of Wrexham 0, Newport County 0. We've been Richard Griffiths, James Harrison, and Mark Griffiths, and that was fun. That was, wasn't it?
This is the Final Whistle podcast from the Wrexham AFC media team.